kind as, thank you. All right. Welcome to our February 22nd full board meeting, Manhattan Community Board 11. My name is Xavier Santiago. I'm the chair of Community Board 11. This meeting is called to order at 6:36 p.m. Tonight, we're joined by District Manager Angel Muscane and Community Associate Marlene Pierre. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hands through Zoom. If you click the participants icon, the participants panel should appear and you should find the raise hand function. If you still have technical difficulty, you may click that chat icon and relay your difficulty to our staff. Members should not engage in a back and forth discussion, either while speaking or on the chat. The chair will recognize the next person to speak to conduct an orderly meeting. The chat function should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. Please, I cannot express this enough. It derails the meeting, and it's also important because we have to abide by open meetings law. It's as if you're texting back and forth with someone, so it's not the same as it being stated publicly. To state your remarks, please raise your hand. You will be recognized, and then you may say what you need to say. Chat should only be used to alert us to technical difficulties. If you're having any, or to state in writing information like an email address, a phone number that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. When a member is given the floor to speak, I'll identify you. You can unmute yourself so that you can speak. Please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. Members of the public can register to speak in the public session by completing the pre-registration form and providing their name, affiliation, and what topic they wish to speak about. A link to the registration form has been shared in the chat. Registration of the public session needs to be done no later than 7:15 p.m. With that being said, we will now move on to our public session and conduct the roll call. Angel, is our secretary on or capable of calling the roll?
I can do it for you.
Okay, thank you very much. And everyone, before Angel calls the roll, I please ask that during the meeting, when you come on to say here, or when you come on to vote, please turn on your video. That way we can be recognized and abiding by open meetings law, just like we were meeting in the room at, say, Silverman School and the auditorium. People can say and hear the entirety of the meeting. Thank you. Go on, Angel.
Members, when I call your name, please answer present. Jose Altamirano.
Present.
Did he hear you?
Present.
Leroy Andino. Leroy Andino. Stephanie Arroyo.
Present.
Eric Alcancela. Dem Brija. Yolanda Brown.
Present.
Eva Chan. Ann Collier.
Present.
Carlos Diaz.
Present.
Angela Donadell.
Present.
Jessica Elliott.
Present.
Elsie Encarnacion.
Present.
Judith Febraro.
Present.
Roger Flores is excused. Osendi Garcia.
Present.
David Giordano. John Green.
Here.
Robert Harvey.
Present.
Jada Heredia. James Horton is excused. Alonzo Johnson.
Here.
Robin Krinsky.
Present.
Marissa Mack.
Present.
Giselle Malave.
Present.
Martin. Malik McCullough.
Present.
Jennifer Meyer.
Present.
Jessica Morris.
How you doing, my buddy? Everything good?
Nelsa Orama.
Present.
Listen, I spoke to the guy
Beverly
regarding the.
Pabon. Beverly Pabon. Andrew Padilla. Miguel Pava.
Present.
Shirley Pena. Mark Perez.
Present.
Thank you. Robert Perez. Vasia Robinson Teague. Natasha Rodriguez. Juan Sanders. Xavier Santiago.
Present.
Isaac Scott. Russell Schuler.
Present.
Benny Torres. Jason Villanueva.
Present.
Thank you, Jason. Andy Vasquez. Nye Whitaker.
Hi, I'm here. Sorry, guys, I have you guys on mute. Did you get
Thank
me,
you.
Angel?
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Michelle Wiltshire Clement.
I'm here.
Jordan Wright. Jason Wu. You have quorum.
Angel
Thank you.
Davis here. Sorry.
David, thank you, David.
Giordano.
Thank you, Angel. Now we're going to move on to our pre-registered speakers. You have 3 minutes each, including time for questions. A few ground rules for those wishing to speak. 1, you must sign up to give testimony, providing your name and affiliation so we can record it for the public record. 2, you'll be allowed 3 minutes to speak, again, including questions. 3, should you address your testimony to the board, not the public. That is very important. 4, should speak clearly and into the microphone. 5, should be prepared to respond to board members who may ask questions in order to clarify facts and opinions presented in your comments. Board members, please keep it to clarifying questions. Commentary we cannot entertain because it will derail the conversation. We appreciate that. Has anyone signed up to speak in the public session, Angel?
Yes, the first registered speaker is Tamika Mapp.
Okay. Tamika, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, thank you so much, Chair, for speaking and let me speak today. I just want to give a brief overview of what's happening on my end. On March 15th, I will be taking a group of parents that has been alienated from their children to making sure that we can get shared parenting in the state of New York. That will be happening on March 15th. I also was with Bronx Defenders last week when we talked about the Miranda family rights. This important bill will make sure that when CPS or Children and Family Services come knocking on the door, they tell the parent the reason why they're knocking at the door. I also was lobbying for informed consent. For those who don't know, anybody that goes or get pregnant and they have a baby, they're drug testing our kids. So with the informed consent bill, it will stop them to illegal drug tests our babies and ourselves as well, and making sure they have consent from us before they start taking drug tests. You know that drug testing alludes to Children and Family Services, so that's a very important bill that I think everybody should be aware of. So thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mapp. Do we have any questions from our board members? Please raise your hands. We have one question from Beverly Pavon. Beverly, your question. Go ahead, Beverly. You are muted. Okay. Beverly, we can't hear you. Given that Beverly's having some technical difficulties, I'm going to go to Alonzo Johnson for your question. And before you go to the question, Alonzo, what is the best way to get in contact with you, Tamika? So that way we can follow up.
Yes, you can reach me at T and Tom Mapp, MAPP at cc68ad.com.
Okay,
I'll put
thank
it in
you.
the chat as well.
Thank you very much. Your question, Alonzo.
You actually took my question, Xavier. I just wanted to Miss Matt to give her contact information and to reiterate that we all appreciate her continued service to the community. So thank you, Tamika, for doing what you do, and thank you for putting your contact information into the notes section.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Beverly, one more time, making sure, because we cannot hear you. Okay, your question, you can register it later with Ms. Mapp, just to keep the meeting moving along, and I'm sure she'll be on. So if we have the opportunity to circle back, we will. But I guess you're having audio connective issues. Angel, next pre-registered speaker, please.
The next registered speaker is Tabitha Rodriguez with We Act for Environmental Justice.
Hi, Tabitha Rodriguez, you have 3 minutes, including questions.
I do not see Ms. Rodriguez in the attendees list.
Okay, we'll circle back to her next.
That was the last public speaker registered.
Okay, we will hold tight, and Tamika, if you don't mind. Okay, all right, so the question was answered from Beverly, so we can lower the hand then. Wonderful, thank you. We're going to move on to our elected representatives, elected official reports. Okay. Just give me a moment. Who do we have? So first, we're going to hear from our elected officials who may be here or their representatives. If you've not already signed up to speak, we ask that you, the elected officials or their representatives, please alert our staff in the chat if they wish to give a report. We ask that any event service literature be sent to our office that we may post and share it as appropriate. Please keep your report to 3 minutes and to be mindful not to repeat what others have already mentioned. Angel, have any elected officials or their representatives signed up to speak?
Yes, we have a number of elected reps.
Fantastic. Who's up first?
I'll call the first three and then so they know their turn in line. So the first three are Nina Norwood with Espaillat's office, Harry Gale with Councilmember Menon's office, and Maggie McDermott with Deputy Speaker Ayala's office. Nina?
Nina, Harry, and then Maggie in that order. All right.
Yes, hello, Chair. Can you hear me?
We hear you. We'll get the timer up. You got 3 minutes, including questions.
Thank you so much. I will make my report brief. My name is Nina Norwood. I am the Deputy District Director for Congressman Adriano Espaillat. I would like to announce that Congressman Espaillat will be hosting his 4th annual Dominicans on the Hill event. Typically, of course, this would be held in person, but of course, due to COVID and everything changing, now this will be a virtual event. So Dominicans on the Hill will be on Thursday, February 24th at 7 p.m. and it will be streamed live on Facebook and YouTube. The Congressman will be joined by a number of Dominican American elected officials and civic leaders from around the nation. He is also going to be joined by the Honorable President of the Dominican Republic, Mr. Luis Abinader. So we're asking everyone to please join and tune in. This is going to be a very, very big event, and we're hoping to have a fantastic turnout. I also would like to make mention that Congressman Espaillat also hosted his annual Black History Month event that was back on February, which is also live on Facebook. You can tune in on the Congressman's official webpage. We honored a lot of great people during this event. The honorees this year was Bronx District Attorney Darcel D. Clark, Rose Pierre Lewis, the Chief Operating Officer of McSilver Institute, and Dr. Karen Thornton, MD. So that was a very, very good event. Again, we're asking everyone to please go on to the Congressman's website, Facebook, take a look. It was a very good event. So that will be the conclusion of my report unless anyone else has any questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Any questions for Ms. Nina Norwood? Please raise your hand in the chat. Not the chat, but in the. Not seeing any, Angel. Okay, thank you so much. We look forward to having our congressman come attend one of our meetings in the future.
Absolutely. I will pass that along. Thank you so much for hosting me.
Thank you. Thank you. Angel, real quick, do we have any of our pre-registered public speakers show up by chance?
No, that was it.
Okay, I'm seeing real quick, Tabitha Rodriguez is here. Elected rep, just hang tight. I see Tabitha Rodriguez in our attendees, Angel.
Okay.
Yes, here.
Wonderful. You've got 3 minutes, including questions. Sorry. Good to have you. Welcome to Community Board 11. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, how are you? So I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Tabitha Rodriguez. It was actually my first day, so I'm working with We Act. I am the bilingual coordinator and also civic engagement coordinator and outreach coordinator for the organization. And so I was asked to join today's meeting to introduce myself to you all and to let you know who I was and let you know from the organizing perspective, we don't have anything to report as of now, but I will be, taking notes from all of you and seeing what you have to say so that I can report back to the office and let them know what's going on. So thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? I see Beverly's hand up. Is that an old hand, I presume?
I'm just checking to see if y'all can hear me now.
Well, I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. No questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Eva Chan and then Michelle Wiltshire Clement. Eva?
Yes, I have a question for We Act. One thing that we struggle in East Harlem is that we have two excessive density of drug treatment clinic and adult-only homeless shelters. And given that We Act is focused on environmental justice, I wonder if it is something that We Act would also help advocate for.
So if you can you write that into the chat so that I can screenshot it and take it back to the organization so that we can address it?
Sure, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jessica Elliott, because I see Michelle put her hand down on that, but I'll circle back at it. Courtesy. Jessica, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Tabitha. I just wanted to say thank you for joining. And I actually do have a meeting coming up with Annie from We Act on Friday this week. So we're working together and look forward to continue working together with you on environmental justice issues in the neighborhood.
Great, thank you. I'll be part of that meeting as well. So I'll see you there.
Great.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jessica. Michelle Wiltshire Clement, your question, please.
My question, my computer won't let me undo so you can see my face. What does We Act stand for? I just wanted to have that in the notes.
So did I run out of time?
No, go ahead and you can answer it real quick. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so We Act is, we're an environmental organization. And so it stands for I'm sorry, I'm just trying to gather my thoughts and everything. So we are an environmental organization that deals with things of, healthy living environments. We deal with anything that has to do with energy, that has to do with housing, that has to do with policy, that has to do with environmental justice, things of that nature.
Actually, I was more so asking, is it an acronym for a specific name? That was what I was really asking, not necessarily what you stood for in a general umbrella. May I take that?
Yeah, Diane, Diane, I see your hand raised. Yes, you're.
Let me just take that for Michelle. Michelle, it's West Harlem Environmental Action. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Diane.
No, it's fine. Welcome to Community Board 11. We all lift each other up. Thank you, Tabitha. We look forward to seeing you. Enjoy the meeting. And I'm going to now circle back and please drop your information in the chat.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah. And we're going to move back to our elected official reports. Harry Gell from Councilmember Menon's office. And then Maggie McDermott from Councilmember Ayala's office. Harry?
Hi, everyone, and thank you for having me. Excited to be here for my second full board meeting with CB11. Looking forward to many more to come. So a few updates from our office. We've been very busy as we're coming to the end of our second month. So we've been addressing, first and foremost, the traffic safety crisis in this city. The Upper East Side and going into East Harlem is unfortunately the district in the city with the most traffic accidents per year. We've been working with the DOT. We actually have scheduled a walkthrough of our district with Adonis Rodriguez to figure out how we can best prevent these tragedies from reoccurring in our district. We've also been trying to handle the surge in the homeless crisis in our city, especially homeless encampments in our subways, working with the MTA as well as DHS to figure out how we could best go about taking care of our homeless population as well as keeping the rest of the district safe and functioning as well. Garbage pickups in the city have been affected in every district, but we are working very closely with the Department of Sanitation to make sure that our garbage pickups are running smoothly and that any constituent or apartment building can reach out to us so we can make sure that follow-up is being done for all garbage pickups. We just had our roundtable on anti-Semitism with Mayor Adams, which went very constructively, and we look forward to working closer with the mayor's administration to not only prevent anti-Semitic hate crimes, but all hate crimes in this city as much as we can. We're very excited for our Small Business Committee hearing, which just got scheduled for March 7th at 10 a.m. And the hearing is on the small businesses in New York City and how we can best help them respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, we are working for the Queensboro Bridge upper deck construction to be expedited and move smoothly and quickly. We are taking on fraud and consumer protection with the Pactonomics COVID testing sites. We've now sent 2 letters of inquiry. We are working with the district attorney to make sure that COVID testing sites are not a source of fraud and a source of lack of consumer protections for our constituents. We've also been working on all constituent complaints and quality of life, whether it be our letter that we've written to GoPuff to make sure that the Carnegie Hill neighborhood can continue being a family-friendly neighborhood despite having a warehouse and dark site, which is where GoPuff is currently operating. And I'm happy to answer any further questions.
Marissa?
Yes, hi, thank you so much for presenting. I had a quick question in regards to, you had mentioned you're doing a roundtable discussion with small businesses, or you have a small business task force.
Councilwoman Menon is the chair of the Small Business Committee, and we just had a hearing scheduled for March 7th at 10 a.m. for a hearing on how small businesses can best respond to COVID-19. And I'll be sending in a link, a sign up for residents in New York City to come and testify.
Okay, and small business, residents and small business?
Yes.
Yes, okay, all right, perfect. All right, so we will look for that in the chat. That was my
Yes,
question.
I'll
Thank
send
you
it now.
so much. All right, thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you. Beverly Pavone?
Yes, thank you, Harry, for the presentation. My question is regarding the statement you made regarding the accidents, traffic accidents that we have. Do you have data as to actually who's like getting hit? Is it more children, elderly, or people that's homeless that's involved in these type of traffic accidents?
I don't have that for district-specific accidents. I think we're just having more numbers of those accidents in the district, but the demographics are pretty much on par with the rest of the city.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Harry. Good to see you. We look forward to seeing you next month as well. And please,
Xavier, you froze.
oh, I did?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Next we have is Maggie McDermott from Deputy Speaker Ayala's office. Maggie?
Good evening, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here as always, representing your Deputy Speaker, Diana Ayala, who could not be here tonight, unfortunately. For the past 4 years, she has worked tirelessly in efforts to improve quality of life, public safety, healthcare, affordable housing, and other pressing issues that face our constituency. She has sponsored 19 pieces of legislation that directly impact the lives of her constituents. Legislation that ranges from mental health care to criminal justice reform, age discrimination, illegal body shops, and closing the gap in mental health care. Those are just a few of the pieces of legislation that she has worked to push through. In addition, she is working to prevent gun violence through youth engagement. So she has worked to improve conditions and secure funding for Thomas Jefferson Park, the Wagner Playground, Taft basketball courts, Washington houses, center, community center, and the Wagner houses community center. In addition, we now have on-site COVID testing. It is PCR testing, so it takes from 3 to 5 days to receive the results in collaboration with Congressman Espaillat and Somos Medical Group. They are on site at the Deputy Speaker's office, which is located at 105 East 115th Street. That is between Park and Lexington Avenues. I want to also mention that the Deputy Speaker is the chair of the General Welfare Committee, which means that she has jurisdiction over matters in relation to HRA, the Human Resources Administration, the Department of Social Services, which is DSS, and the Administration for Children's Services, including juvenile justice and the Department of Homeless Services, in addition to charitable institutions. The General Welfare Committee is hosting a hearing on February 28th at 10 a.m. The topic is the impact of the expiration of the eviction moratorium. So you're all invited to attend that hearing, which is on February 28th at 10 a.m. And you can find the details on the City Council website. I will put some of this information in the chat box. And are there any questions?
Board members, any questions? I see Marissa Mack.
Hi, Maggie. Sorry, I hope that wasn't aside from me asking a question.
No, of course, no, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm having a moment. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you. Thank you for always coming and presenting and sharing information.
It's my pleasure and honor.
And I don't know if you know this, offhand, or if there's something, that I'd have to ask Diana directly. But do you know where she is in regards to taking a stand on some of the bail reform issues that are currently going on now, especially with, everything that's going on within our community? And I feel like there's a little, tug there between the mayor and then some of our assembly people in regards to, how they feel and what's going on. But do you know where she stands or what she's doing, in addition to some of the gun violence work that you mentioned in that space?
I don't have a statement on her behalf to speak of that particular topic, but that's a dialogue that she is always ready, willing, and able to have. So if you'd like to speak directly with, the deputy speaker, that you can just give a call and you have that dialogue. And I'm not trying to be evasive, but I don't want to say anything that's
Oh, no,
inappropriate because
absolutely.
I don't have a prepared statement. So, but thank you for asking that question. But I do know that she is continuing to focus on providing youth the necessary resources to otherwise engage them, so to prevent them from being involved or victimized or any in any way, shape, or form associated with gun violence or its after effects. So
thank you for that.
Thank you. Any other questions from our board members? And thank you, Maggie, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you all.
One more from Dawn Sanders.
Sure.
Hi, Maggie. How are you?
Hi, Dawn. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Good, good. I was hoping that I want to know more about how we're going to respond to the planned budget cuts at HRA and DHS or DSS, Department of Social Services, because I'm a little concerned about how we could be cutting the budget at HRA and cutting the budget at homeless services at a time when we're trying to better accommodate this population and more humanely accommodate this population. So anyway, I don't I'm seeing newspaper articles about it the last few days, and I know it's a kind of a new topic, but I'm hoping that at some point your office might advocate or keep us informed on how we can also push back against those cuts, budget cuts.
Yeah, that's a great comment or inquiry. And I definitely, I'm not prepared to answer that from the deputy speaker's standpoint. However, I do know that she is a diehard advocate for, children's rights and parents' rights. So I'm sure, since she has such a vested interest, that she will not be comfortable with the cuts either. So, that's all I can freely say, but I will definitely bring your concerns to her attention, and hopefully next month I can come better prepared to respond to what in fact her opinion is in reference to cuts as such with DHS and ACS and full.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Dawn. Great question. That's and we look forward to you following up with that, Maggie. And we look forward to having the deputy speaker attend one of our full board meetings. Thank you.
For sure. And thank you everybody for your outpouring of love, prayers, concern for the deputy speaker who just lost her beloved mother. Thank you all so much on her behalf. I know she was deeply touched and moved by your kindness. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Maggie. Angel, who do we have next?
So next on the queue is Damaris Vasquez with Senator Clare's office and Stacy Marius with Assemblymember Dickens' office.
Okay. Damaris?
Good morning. Good afternoon. Sorry about that. Long
It's
day.
okay.
Long day.
Depends on what side of the planet. Go ahead. You got
Right? Anyway, I wanted to get on and report our office. Very, very short. Our office is open, receiving constituent services. Open for constituent services. The senator is working on some projects. She has introduced some bills on the education front that we'll be reporting at our next meeting. And we have PPEs in the office for any constituents that might need, or anybody that might need some COVID testing. We have that available as well. So outside of that, we don't have much available. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Not seeing it. Oh, we have a hand. Giselle Malave.
Hello, thank you so much for your report. I have a question. I wanted to know if you had any information or recent information on the refunding of the restaurant revitalization fund. I believe it's the restaurant revitalization fund, or if it is the RRP program. Those are that's the acronym for it, RRP program second round. I want to know if the senator had any update on that.
I unfortunately don't have anything to report on that. However, Ms. Malave, I'll be more than happy if you send me a direct message with your information. I could follow up with you tomorrow to answer your question.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Not seeing any hands raised. Well, thank you very much, Damaris. Look forward to seeing you at the next one. Okay, and who do we have next, Angel? Remind me.
Stacy Marius with Assembly Member Dickens' office.
Ms. Marius, you have 3 minutes.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. This evening, I will be discussing the number of bills that Assemblymember Inez Dickens is currently coming up for votes in the Assembly. One of the bills is a bill to cap the number of treatment providers in a community where they already exist. This is preventing both the state and the city from adding additional providers in our community, which has become oversaturated with treatment centers. Right, currently, we have no bill number as of yet. The second bill is one that establishes a conviction integrity unit in every district attorney's office across the state of New York. Presently, an accused person has to pay for a private investigator of a firm to prove that their claim of innocence, with this bill, a person can petition the state to have their case reviewed for those to see if how it was handled. And that would be bill number A3765. The next bill is one that mandates any educational language equality for deaf children. Certain schools that enroll children who are deaf are provided different educational materials. We would like to see these materials be made available in resources that allow children who are deaf the functionality of learning the same materials as their peers. The fourth bill that the Assemblywoman is pushing is a bill that created a more ethnically diverse parole board that greater reflects the population of the state of New York, but more importantly, the people who come before the board. I believe I just have one more bill, which the Assemblywoman is pushing a bill that eliminates the rent increases for major capital improvements. This bill was held up last session, but we believe we have enough support for it this year. So I want to thank you for allowing me to present the bills on the floor this year for 2022 for Assemblywoman Inez Dickens.
Thank you so much. We have 2 questions, Marissa Mack.
Okay, sure.
Marissa?
Hi, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much
Good
for
evening.
presenting. Can you
You're welcome.
please restate the bill number for the cap
Sure,
number of social
absolutely.
services?
Yes, so that bill number, I think the one that I read for the conviction integrity.
No, for the, I think it was like
The cap
first one.
service of
Yes.
yes. We don't have a bill number at this time, unfortunately, but one, if you put your information in the chat, I can follow up with you as soon as we have that. That should be pretty relatively soon. I'm thinking the end of this month.
Okay, actually, for the purpose of this meeting, if you are able to drop yours in, because I'm sure there might be other people that want to contact you as well.
Oh, sure.
If you
Absolutely.
could, and then I'll reach out to you regarding that bill. But thank you so much.
I have it in the chat, but I'll put it in again.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Marissa. Jason Will.
Good evening. I had a question regarding the Assembly member's position on the good cause eviction bill. Could you share, can you give us an update regarding her position regarding that bill?
So the good cause bill currently, I don't have an update on that information at this time. But again, I will be able to leave my information and You can contact me at the office and I'll be able to give you some update probably within the next day or so.
Thank you. And just so everyone knows, this bill would provide additional tenant protections from eviction and unfair rental increases. And we hope that this is something that the Assembly member would support.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you very much. We look forward to return contact with that information from the Assembly member. We look forward to seeing you next month.
Yeah, thank you for letting me host.
Don't have any other questions here in the chat. Angel, any other elected official reports?
None that I recognize. If there are any other elected reps that we didn't call on, just please raise your hand. If not, then we can proceed to the BP's report. Okay, so we have Trisha, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Shimamura from the Borough President's Office. Sorry, Trish.
No worries. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see all of you here tonight. Just to warn you, my 2-year-old is sitting right next to me and oftentimes gets very angry when the spotlight's not on him. So I will try to speak very quickly. Obviously, I'm not Isabel Abreu and I am not Mark Levine, but I am the director. I am the director of community affairs for the Office of the Borough President. We were really sorry to say goodbye to Isabel, but we know that she's going to be working still with CB11, which is incredible, and working with our office at Union Settlement. We're really excited for her. And unfortunately, the BP tonight is in back-to-back meetings. We think that he'll be able to join later on, but just in case he can't, I wanted to just introduce myself and give you his report. So top of the list is really just, and everybody who serves on the community board should probably be aware of this, but the open meetings law was extended by the governor until March 16th. But right now we're not seeing that being extended, excuse me. We're not seeing that being further extended right now. We're in kind of constant contact with the state to make sure that if there is an extension, we will get it. We will relay that to you. But right now we're going to be working with all the community boards to make sure that they are making plans to go back in person and working on all of those details. So Angel, I know that we've already been in contact with you and Xavier. We'll continue to be in contact with you guys about the future of that. The next thing I wanted to just mention was that last week, the borough president joined with all of the other borough presidents to announce an initiative to call on the mayor to plant 1 million trees by 2030. We know that trees are so much more than beautiful additions to our urban landscape, but we also know that they help with resiliency, they help with overall cooling of our city. Excuse me again for my son being so loud. So we're really excited about this initiative. If you have a tree pit in your neighborhood that you would like to see a new tree in, please let our office know. We'd be happy to work on that. The next thing I want to just mention is that the last few weeks have been pretty tragic in our subway system with regards to deaths on our subway. We saw in, I believe, a 24-hour period, 5 individuals died in our subway system. It's why the BP was so insistent on calling for an initiative with all other 10 council members from Manhattan for subway barrier doors to be piloted. Not only would this help save tragic accidents like the ones that happened in the last few weeks, but it would also help with less subway fires. It would help with less garbage on the subway. It would be overall help our system. So we're really have been pushing that. I want to just end with a quick note about our application deadline, which is something that I am very much involved with. Our application portal is closing on March 1st right now, and we would very much like all of our current board members to consider reapplying. We also would love anybody who is on this call who isn't a board member, but who would like to become more involved to really consider serving on your community board. If I am at all familiar to you, it's probably because I've worked with you before. I served on CB8 right below CB11 for 8 years. I've loved it. I loved working on Esplanade issues with CB11's Parks Committee. I loved working with my community board on various issues that were really important to me. And I hope that you would all consider reapplying. So please consider reapplying, and remember that that deadline is right around the corner. It's really important to get your application in, and I'm going to put my contact information into the chat so you all have it. I think that is it. Hopefully you could hear me more than you could hear my son Teddy. I again apologize for the noise, but it's really wonderful to see all of you again. And I'm really looking forward to next month getting in to introduce you to our new community liaison for this community board.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tricia. And don't worry about Teddy. He's quite all right. And there. So we have a question from Jessica Elliott. Jessica.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Tricia. Good to see you, and thank you for the update. I just wanted to note on the Million Trees initiative. Of course, more trees are needed in the neighborhood, but I think something to consider that is equally as important is the maintenance of existing street trees. I know that other neighborhoods have, I've heard of like watering trucks that go around. I just want to make sure that our neighborhood is getting the same services as other neighborhoods when it comes to the care and maintenance and survival of these trees for
Absolutely. So Jessica, I know that you know this, and you and I talk park language all the time. But this is truly a big deal for us too. And the VP made sure that when we were announcing this program, that they were focusing just as much as they were on it to plant new trees, that our existing trees are getting actually the care that they need. So if there are any sort of concerns in the neighborhood right now, I truly mean it. You should be sending me an email about it. You know that this is something that's a bit of a personal, close to near and dear to my heart. And then, you know, there are also additional programs that I would love to make sure that CB11 members are a part of. There, you can become an official tree pruner. You can become somebody who's a little trained more so in identifying healthy trees. I'd love nothing more than to connect you guys with more opportunities like that, and to maybe even talk to you offline about making sure that CB11 is getting the attention that you guys need to make sure that our trees are healthy in the area.
Thank you. I'll reach out.
Great. Love some urban horticulture. That's wonderful.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, wonderful. I don't see any of their hands raised, and tell little big man over there, high five for attending. It's all good. We love it.
Apologize.
No, I got two boys. No, you're in good space, good company. All right, if BP Levine can make it, great. Thank you so much for presenting the report. And if you could just let us know, send an email to us to let us know what our current application count is for Community District 11, that would be helpful, so we can rally people to apply. All right.
Absolutely, will do. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Okay, thank you, Angel. All right, clipping along. Now we have our public hearing on the mayor's preliminary budget for fiscal year 2023. The board will hear public testimony regarding the preliminary budget and receive written testimony via email at M for Manhattan, N Nancy 11 at cb.nyc.gov until 12 p.m. March 16th. The Office of Management and Budget has advised community boards to submit their letters of comment by March 21st. Keep in mind, this is for members of the public. Members of the public can now opine now. You raise your hand and you can submit your testimony verbally for us to take under consideration to submit. And or the nice thing this year is that you can come to our monthly meetings, because due to when the mayor dropped the budget, we actually are going to be taking this on at each of our committees. So you have multiple opportunities to actually submit testimony. It's not just now at full board. But again, cannot impress enough that all written testimony has to be received by March 16th at 12 p.m. So Angel, do we have any hands raised from the public who wish to submit testimony? And again, this is for members of the public, not the board members who will be taking this on during our March meeting.
I do not see any hands raised at the moment.
I will hold it open for another minute. I see we have approximately 60 members of the public in attendance. Okay, and just to remind everyone and the members of the public, the board members deal with this every year, and we comment, we discuss, we weigh out all the options. It's important for you to participate and let us know what your thoughts are. So again, this is not the only opportunity. During the month of March, you'll be able to go attend our community board committee meetings and participate in that way. And I ask all of our chairs here that if you do have someone who would like to submit some testimony in regards to the budget, please entertain those members of the public. Okay. Not seeing any hands raised, Angel.
I don't see any either. What I'll do is I'll add a link in the chat for those that didn't see it on the agenda, to access the budget materials as they prepare to attend any meetings or to submit written testimony.
That would be wonderful. And again, any of our board members, members of the public, as Angel's going to drop it in the chat. Again, spread it far and wide throughout our community and let them know that this is how one of the many ways they can participate in advocacy. Thank you. I will now close the public hearing. Again, if there's a member who has a question or whatnot, they can reach out. Next, we're going to move on to our business session. Hold on. Okay. Great. The minutes, so the minutes from the last full board meeting were distributed to board members ahead of time by the board office. If there's no objection, we'll adopt the minutes from that meeting, board members. If you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand through Zoom.
Make a motion to approve.
We are doing so through unanimous consent. So if there are no objections, Carlos, meaning that raise your hand if you have an objection, but if you don't, they'll.
Not at all.
Are there any other hands? Angel?
No other hands.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, seeing no objections, the minutes from the last full board meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CB11 website. We'll now move on to the chair's report. I will keep it very brief. As many of you know, we've had a lot of calamity and opportunities to connect, but not for the reasons we typically desire. I've attended Borough Board, a multitude of other events, including the Vigil for Yapan Ma. Issues of hate and crime are still hitting our community in a devastating way. I've asked many of our chairs to take on some of the issues, such as substance use. We're scheduling a walkthrough with Dr. Christy De La Cruz and the UFT and other members to observe what they're seeing with a lot of discarded waste from needles and users, so we can actually assist and work with our fellow agencies to find a cure for the cause of addiction and actually activate people. We've had this past Saturday a virtual meeting with our chairs of CB 9, 10, 11, and 12, working on activating our northern part of the borough. That will also dovetail nicely as we reach out to our brothers and sisters in the Bronx. There are other meetings that are set up, but again, I will keep it very brief for tonight's meeting. If you have any questions, you can also reach me at chair@cb11m.org. I look forward to seeing you out there in the field, and please stay safe. That concludes my chair's report and district manager's report.
Good evening, everyone. It's Angel Muscane. Let me put this camera on. Hi, folks. Just sharing a couple of things highlighting a couple of things from my report. I recently became aware, excuse me, that the MTA police staff have been parking their vehicles on the 125th Street Public Plaza. As you'll recall, the city, through its EDC and Department of Transportation, invested a lot of effort and money to build out this space for as a public plaza for public programming for our community. And it seemed as soon as it was handed over to the organization that manages that public plaza for us, the cars started appearing and are mounting the sidewalk of the plaza and storing their vehicles, personal vehicles included, in that plaza area on the 124th Street side of the plaza. We've been in contact with the mayor's office and with the borough president's office and with DOT and trying to convince the MTA to remove their vehicles. This is not the most important thing in the world, but a lot of time and effort and care and thought was put into creating this plaza. And I know that Uptown Grand Central, their programs there has been, bending over backwards over the years in the small space that they had available initially to program it. And the promise of this larger space was very exciting, and to see the possibility of these cars being there when the weather warms up and the space is more ready for active programming would be a real waste. So we want to resolve this issue yesterday. so we don't have to encounter any of this issue come the warmer months. Besides attending a number of meetings, I wanted to remind members, like Tricia did, that the application and reapplication deadline is fast approaching. March 1st, board members had, existing board members have been reminded a couple of times that if their term is set to expire this year, they are required to reapply if they wish to continue serving as a member of the community board. For those members that are unsure or need another reminder about when their term expires, please feel free to reach out to me and I will let you know. The last thing I did want to mention, without stretching this out too long, to have the opportunity on the 16th to attend the 25th Precinct Community Council meeting. A couple other board members were there. Ms. Chan, Collier, and Judith were all there, as well as Jose, chair of our Public Safety Committee. The council meeting was attended by the recently appointed borough commander for Patrol Borough Manhattan North, Lola Obey. She has a longer name, but she insisted on that, just to call her Lola. But also more kind of recognizable to us is they honored the president of the council, Keoki Jackson, honored longtime and recently longtime community affairs officers, Detective Darrell Lucas and Sergeant Aaron Rivera, who recently left to other assignments after very long stints with the community affairs team at the 2-5. So it was an honor to see the fellas again and to to wish them a happy goodbye. Get an opportunity, like a lot of times these officers get reassigned all over the place at in a moment's notice. You don't get to let them know how you feel about them and how much you appreciate their work and their effort and their partnership. And I was very glad that the community council made it a point of asking them back and honoring them, and in doing so gave the rest of us in the community an opportunity to also wish them well. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Angel. And I thank you very much for attending that, and for other board members who did. I was lucky enough to be able to dial in. I was juggling 2 meetings. Also too, a couple of things I neglected to include in my report, that been attending the weekly NYCHA TA leaders meeting throughout that citywide, dealing with Brad Pack and other issues. Also attended the joint legislative public hearing on 2022 executive budget proposal with housing. And finally, attended the vigil for Detective who's Officer Moore, was posthumously promoted, who was from this neighborhood. So I want to thank you to Angel, all of our community board members who are attending the events throughout the district. If there are no other questions, we'll move on to our officers' reports.
Hello, good evening.
So.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My report is short. I just wanted to thank everyone who received an email from me for reaching out and for their engagement, and just saying thank you for the responses. Thank you.
Thank you, Giselle. Do we have Jason to offer a treasurer's report?
No report this month, Chair.
Thank you very much. That concludes our officers' reports. We'll now move to our committee reports and action items. It is 7:34. Our first up is housing. John Green.
Always first. Good evening, everybody. John Green, Chair of the Housing Committee. Excuse me. For the February meeting, we had a couple of presentations, and sorry that there's a siren going off behind. It was the Sendero Verde came and gave a presentation, and basically it was very good. They basically gave us the information that we needed, and they gladly answered questions, and basically it was a good meeting. And anything else that that when you get the minutes, actually, everything else is really for information purposes only. And that's my report. Thank you.
Are there any questions for John? All right, seeing that there are none, thank you very much, John. Look forward to next month's meetings. And hold on just a second. Actually, I'd like to, just receiving a message from 9, I think she put it in the chat. If we could go out of order in this instance, given the extenuating circumstances, to Human Services, Angel.
Sure. I'm not controlling the slide deck. Marlene, if you could just slide forward to Human Services.
Nice. Now, are you there? Hold on. Okay, it looks like she dropped offline. Let's go back, please, to licenses and permits. Thank you, Marlene. Okay. Adem? Is Adem Briha here?
He is not.
Okay, what about Judith Fabero?
She is.
Judith?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but there was a little confusion with license and permits this past month, and I didn't have the applications. So it's very difficult for me to speak on it. I basically abstained throughout the meeting because I didn't, for some reason, something must have happened, but I never got the documents. So I can't really speak about it right now.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go through this. Is there any other member from the committee there who was in attendance?
Yeah, I think Angela was and Marlene.
I was there.
Okay. Are you prepared to present, or I can just go through this?
We can go through it. I believe that we did not, let me see. 'Cause I usually take notes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Xavier, but there was a problem and
Okay, that's fine. So it's all right. So we'll run through this.
Basically, I believe we denied PB State. I believe that somebody needed to be at the meeting and they weren't in attendance and we didn't have enough information. And I believe the rest are approvals.
Okay.
So we didn't really have any problems as I can't remember her name, just passed my head. The co-chair stated that
Judith, yeah.
basically Judith, she abstained because she never got to read the documents. But basically, I think that was the only denial. Because I don't remember, because I can't see it here right now. And
Okay.
I can't pull it up.
I have it in front of me.
You want me to read through what I
No,
see?
I will handle it for this
Thank
round.
you
I just
very
gotta
much,
let-
Xavier.
You're
thank
welcome.
you, Xavier. Again, like I said, there was a problem and I didn't have the documents.
Yes, I know.
apologize for that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read through it. And in the
Yes.
interest of time, we have created a culture of productivity where we bundle typically the renewals and liquor licenses.
Right.
And then
Right.
we go and take the street permits separately. Just in the interest of time for the readout, I'm going to condense, if there are no objections, the entirety of the committee's recommendations. So if there are any objections to that, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm going to condense and bundle it all together so we can carry on with the productive meeting. And Angel, just pay attention for any hands that may pop up. I'm going to read it into the record now for licenses and permits. I just got a text back from Adem that he's had an emergency and he's hoping to get on a little later, but let's go ahead. Number one, deny the application for 2006 PD Steakhouse doing business as PD Steakhouse for a new full liquor license for the restaurant located 2006 3rd Avenue, New York, New York 10029 110th Street. Number two, approve the application of 97th and Lex LLC for a new full liquor license for a restaurant located at 1504 Lexington Avenue, New York, New York 10029 97th Street. Number three, approve the application for SNJT LLC doing business as Solmaya Restaurant for the new full liquor license for a restaurant located at 2061 2nd Avenue, aka 246 East 106th Street, New York, New York 10029 at 106th Street. Number four, deny the application of ENYC Restaurant Group LLC doing business as Naughty Crab to renew a wine, beer, and cider license number 1322492 for a restaurant located at 1621 Lexington Avenue, New York, New York 10029 at 102nd Street. Number five, approve the application of the Museum of the City of New York doing business as Museum of the City of New York to renew a full liquor license number 1308163 for the restaurant located at 1220 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York 10029 103rd Street. Next, we'll go on to our street permits, which is number six, Sunshine Carnival 616024 Street Festival. It's going to be April 15th, 2022, set up at 12 a.m. Breakdown April 24th, 2022 at 8 p.m. Location East 109th Street between 2nd Avenue and 3rd Avenue. Street closure will be full street closure. Applicant Isabel Carreras. Sponsors Sunshine Sport Club. The committee recommends that this application be approved. Number seven, NYSOM Easter Extravaganza 2022, number 618674, Health Fair, April 6, 2022, set up 10 a.m., breakdown 6:30 p.m. Location East 114th Street between First Avenue and Pleasant. Street closure, full street closure. Applicant Paul Dawkins, sponsor NYSOM Group. This committee recommends that this application be approved. Number eight, El Barrio Family Day Health Fair Festival, 615643 Single Block Festival, May 7th, 2022. Setup will be 8 a.m., breakdown 8 p.m. Location East 106th Street between Lexington Avenue and 3rd Avenue. Street closure, full street closure. Applicant is Martina Garcia, Hispanic Community Organization for Life. This committee recommends that this application be approved. And number nine, Back to School Health Fair Festival, 607361. It's a single block festival. August 13th, 2022, set up at 8 a.m., breakdown at 8 p.m., East 116th Street between 2nd Avenue and 3rd Avenue Street. It is full street closure. Applicant is Martina Garcia, Hispanic Community Organization for Life. The committee recommends that this application be approved. I have not seen any hands raised. I'm going to read back. Number one is a deny, two is an approve, three is an approve, four is a deny, five is an approve, six is approve, seven is approve, 8 is approve, and 9 is approve. So what I am recommending is that I will entertain a recommendation for the entirety of licenses and permits to be bundled to approve the committee's recommendation.
Xavier, Dawn Sanders had a hand up.
Yes,
Dawn has a hand up.
Yes, Dawn, and then Carla.
I'm sorry, I put the question in the chat because I didn't want us to delay anything, but I was trying to see if number 6, which is right on us, is like on that mega school block. Is that during spring break? Because that's a long time, and I'm just trying to see. I'm just trying to compare because that's those all those schools together. So anyway, I was just checking on that. So I'm hoping maybe the committee already looked into how that's scheduled in terms of schools closure, school street closures and things like that. So
would
other
anyone
than that, I just had a question, but I'll look it up now to see when the school spring break, but that looks like it goes a little beyond spring break. I don't know.
So that extends. I have the calendar up. If any member of that committee would like to find, please raise your hand. The 15th is Good Friday. And then that extends through Orthodox Easter. So Good Friday on the 15th, Easter Sunday the 17th, Easter Monday the 18th, and extends through to Orthodox Easter on the 24th. So I know a lot of schools will be closed during that time, but I can't really state otherwise for the public school schedule. I don't see any of our other license and permits hands raised. Was that the only question, Don? Because then I have Carlos.
Yeah, that was my question. Thanks.
Okay. Carlos?
I make a motion to deny the 2 permits that we denied and a motion to approve everything else.
Okay, so you are approving, you're motioning to approve the committee's recommendations, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. All right, Angel, since we are, the first was the committee's recommendations, the second is what the full board member Carlos Diaz has put forward. Please call the roll.
So we're approving the committee recommendation for 1 through 8, through 9.
1 through 9, all of them.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. There were only 2 denials in all.
The 2 denials.
And the rest were
the rest.
correct.
Jose Altamirano. Leroy Andino. Stephanie Arroyo.
Yes.
Eric Alcancela. Brija. Yolanda Brown.
Yes.
Eva Chan. Ann Collier.
Yes.
Carlos Diaz.
Yes.
Angela Donadell.
Yes.
Jessica Elliott.
Yes.
Elsie Encarnacion.
Yes.
Judith Ferraro.
Hi, yes, I abstained at the committee because I didn't have the documents, but I'm going to go along with my committee and say yes.
Jose Andy Garcia.
Yes.
David Giordano.
Yes.
John Green.
Aye.
Robert Harvey. Jada Heredia. Alonzo Johnson.
Yes.
Bryn Krinsky.
Yes.
Marissa Mack.
Yes.
Giselle Malave.
Yes.
Martin. Malik McCullough. Jennifer Meyer.
Yes.
Jessica Morris.
Yes, Angel. I couldn't get
Malik,
to it.
thank you, buddy. Nelson Rama. Rolly Pabon.
Yes.
Andrew Padilla. Miguel Pava.
Yes.
Rolly Peña. Perez.
Yes.
Robert Perez.
Yes.
Savasia Robinson Teague. Natasha Rodriguez.
Yes.
Don Sanders.
Yes.
Xavier Santiago.
Yes.
Isaac Scott.
Yes.
Russell Schuler.
Yes.
Lee Torres.
Yes.
Jason Villanueva.
Yes.
Andy Vasquez. Nye Whitaker. Michelle Wilcher Clement.
Yes.
Jordan Wright. Jason Wu.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Angel, I'm sorry, this is Nilsa. I tried to say yes and I couldn't unmute myself in time.
Okay, thank you. Motion still carried.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Angel. Thank you, everyone, for your patience on that. And that concludes licenses and permits. I will now pass the baton to Jessica Elliott, our Chair of Environment, Open Space and Parks. Jessica.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well this evening. Just some updates from our committee, and then we have one action item tonight. We had a informational presentation on the EDC and DPR projects along the waterfront. This was a light update on the park from 132nd to 148 5th Street. I forget what the last street is, sorry. But we've asked them to come back and they will be giving a more detailed presentation on that park in specific in April. So this presentation was more focused on the 107th Street Pier projects and their RFP process, which they are currently in the process of selecting a designer, but they will begin design in spring of this year and begin construction in 2024. So we're keeping an eye on that project and all of the other projects going on the waterfront, and look forward to an update from them on the park, which is expected to begin construction in late this year. We also had an informational presentation from East River Crew, which is an organization in our neighborhood that's been providing free access to the waterfront since 2006. They are requesting a letter of support from our committee to continue operating through the rebuilding of their platform area. So we are going to revisit that and take a vote at next meeting and bring that forth to you then. We also talked about our goals and accomplishments, which we're a little late on, but we're actually getting a lot of progress and moving forward on our goals. So we look forward to talking more about that. And then our action item tonight is for the support of the petition to the Central Park Conservancy for improved playing facilities with the New York Lawn, oh, thank you. I didn't see it on the screen here. New York Lawn Bowling Club and New York Croquet Club. And our committee voted to support the request with the condition that the organizations commit to engaging residents of all ages from the community of East Harlem to be able to participate in the sport, which they were very excited and willing to engage with us on. And that is it.
Wonderful. I see one hand raised. Adam, are you there?
Yeah. Sorry about being late. I just one question regarding the motion. I'm happy to see that the committee wants them to engage with the residents. My only question would be, was there any specifics regarding that, or is there going to be any follow-up on how they plan to do that?
Chair or Angel, do we have any representatives from the organization here? I know they had programs where they are reaching out to other communities, and they had immediate ideas for ways to engage in Mount Morris Park, but there's no concrete follow-up other than our continued engagement with them.
I just think, I understand that. I just think that if we're going to ask for these things, we ask that they then come back with some type of plan. Otherwise, I almost feel like the asks are becoming pointless because, and I'm not blaming you, or anything or saying that, but this just happens a lot of times where we make these conditions and we ask for things and then there's just no follow-up because specifics and things like that aren't discussed. But that's just my opinion.
Well, I will tell you that they came to both of our committee meetings and were engaging with us throughout their time at the meeting on ways that they do engage with communities. And I am confident that if we follow up and ask them to come present on engagement, that we can do that.
I see the next. Thank you very much, Adam. Next hand up is from Angela. Angela.
Hi, Jessica. Could you give an example of the types of engagement that they express during the meeting? Because what they do in other communities may not necessarily be viable outreach for this community.
I understand you, Angela. Unfortunately, I don't have any concrete examples. My notes I take myself and am during the meeting, so I'm not able to capture everything, and my memory is not very good to remember concrete examples. So if they're here, they can speak to that, but they did provide examples of that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle Butcher Clement. Your question.
It's not a question. It's more so what was said during the meeting. they said that if they do have people that are interested, that they would love for them to come and be sort of like a student mentor sort of thing. So they would be teachers to people to learn the sport. And so that it would more so be an inclusion. And yes, we want to share this sport with you, and it's for all ages. And they really wanted to emphasize that they wanted as many people to be included as possible. And it did include things where, oh, if it's the cost, or if it's the time, or if it's the place, how they would bend over backwards to really make it something that would be open to each person, irrespective of their age or their way that they can fund it.
Thank you, Michelle, for that helpful statement.
Wonderful. Angela, you had a follow-up question?
Yes, thank you. So basically, then we have to do the outreach within the community to get people to possibly be interested in this as a sport. Or are they willing to come in and show people what this is in the community to get the interest going? Because we're going to walk around and ask people, do you want to do some lawn bowling? How about some croquet? Not feasible, not realistic. And I think I agree with Adem. We say yes to things before they give us something that is more concrete and viable in the community, for the community to be involved in.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Angela. One more question, Diane.
So this isn't really a question. This is really in response to some of the things that are being discussed here. That I wasn't particularly the one that added in that condition, because they they just basically came to us to ask us, with all the other community boards that really surround the Central Park. And I felt it was important that we at least put that condition in there. So, because these are sports that our young people don't have exposure to. Now, they did mention a few places like Carter Burden. I mean, this is the first time that they came to us where we literally put them on notice. You need to come you need to at least say that you're going to engage us. The original plan was no engagement at all. I think it's also incumbent upon us to be prepared to talk about how they could engage with residents of all ages. And we start out obviously with the youth. So there's no problem, in my opinion, not to invite them back to the Education and Youth and Education Committee to talk about this.
Okay, thank you.
And I would just like to add quickly, it was also not only youth, but seniors are a great population for this sport, and would, just feel free to reach out to me, and I can connect anyone, any schools, any organizations with these groups.
Thank you, Jessica, and thank you, Diane. Jason, you had a question, or?
I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay, so we had from Environment, Open Space and Parks, the support the petition of the New York Lawn Bowling Club and New York Croquet Club to the Central Park Conservancy for improved playing facilities for lawn sports in Central Park, with the condition that the organizations commit to engaging residents of all ages from the community of East Harlem to be able to participate in the sport. Jason, you motion? You move?
Motion to support the committee's recommendation.
Okay. All right, Angel, please call the roll.
Jose Altamirano, Stephanie Arroyo,
Yes.
Adem Brija,
Yes.
Yolanda Brown,
Yes.
Eva, Anne,
Yes.
Carlos,
Yes.
Angela,
Abstain.
Jessica,
Yes.
Elliot, Elsie,
Yes.
Judith,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
John,
Aye.
Robert? Perez? Sorry, Robert
Present.
Harvey. Sorry about that, Robert. Robert Harvey. I went out of order there for a second. Alonzo Johnson,
Yes.
Robin Krinsky,
Yes.
Marissa Mack,
Yes.
Zelma LeVey,
Yes.
Leek McCullough,
Yes.
Jennifer Meyer,
Yes.
Nelsa,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Miguel,
Yes.
Art.
Yes.
Now Robert Perez.
Yes.
Natasha,
Yes.
Dawn,
Abstain.
Xavier,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Vinny, Jason,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
and Jason Wu. The motion carries.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And thank you, Jessica. Just a quick reminder before we roll into our next committee update is that please, if you're going to speak or vote, just click your camera on and then off when you were speaking for the record. Thank you. Next, Angel. Public Safety and Transportation, Jose Altamirano. Is Jose here? And if not, is Vice Chair or Michelle Wilshire Clement?
I'm here just trying to figure out my camera situation here. Is the camera on?
There, we have you in frame. Go ahead.
Okay. The topics that we spoke about were all informational, and we do not have any action topics to discuss this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next, Angel. Human Services, Nye Whitaker, I think had to leave due to an emergency. Art, would you be so kind as to present the report?
Sure. Hi, this is Art. All right, so we had a presentation by nurses from Mount Sinai requesting a letter of support related to some working conditions that are not acceptable to them. They're overworked, they're stressed, overwhelmed, due mostly to some nursing shortages at Sinai. And they're essentially looking for a resolution to the situation. And they're being represented by the New York State Nurses Association. So we had 3 speakers, and they essentially laid out the conditions and are looking for a letter of support. And that's basically it.
Okay, are there any questions? I know that one of our board members, Robin Krinsky, was part of the group and was presenting. Well, we have a bunch of questions. I love it. So I don't know if she's on. I can't see her in my field, but we'll go to her first. The hand that I see is Jason Villanueva, then Diane Collier, then Vinnie Torres. They all kind of came up at the same time. So your question, Jason.
Yeah, so I just want to understand, the nurses are coming to us and they're saying that the Mount Sinai Medical Centers conditions are deplorable. How do we as a board, side or make those types of determinations? The only reason I asked that question, because it sounds political, and my other thought process is that at the end of the day, like, we also end up supporting Mount Sinai as well. So it's just an open-ended question.
So hi, this is Robin Krinsky. I'm on the Community Board 11. And what is happening at Mount Sinai is happening to many places. However, the management is not hiring into the vacancies that we have. They're very slow when they do hire. And what that, the outcome of that is that people in this community board and the people of New York City are not getting the level of care that they should and what they deserve. There's a shortage of nurses, therefore patients' call bells go unanswered. People do not get turned frequently that may not be able to, move in the bed themselves. And it results in the outcomes of increased infection, which we have, and increased skin breakdown and pressure sores that we are seeing. And really what we want the community board to do is to support us to provide, to have management provide us with the tools that we need so we could do our job. Nurses are leaving Mount Sinai at incredible rates. They cannot retain their staff. And when you can't retain staff, quality of patient care really plummets. So from that perspective, and someone who is a frontliner, I live this every day. It is heart-wrenching that you go home and you say to yourself, I didn't do what I should have done today because I don't have the means. They haven't provided me with the means to do that.
Thank you, Robin, for responding to that. Diane, Vinny, Cindy, and then Candy. Go ahead, Diane.
So my first question is, do we have a copy of the resolution that the Nurses Association had put together?
Angel, that Art, go ahead.
Yeah, we do have a copy. I was under the understanding that that was supplied to the board.
Yes, it was submitted to board. It should be in the shared drive. Angel, is that there? Can you just double check, please? I'm trying to pull it up. Yep, right here. I'm looking at it. Yes, this was shared with the entire board on February 18th, 3 days ahead as is required. Actually 4 days ago now at this time. So that was shared with the board.
Okay, I guess that's okay if you have access to that drive. I can't speak for the rest of the board. I'll have to take a quick look at it. The other thing is, several years ago, the nurses of Mount Sinai had come to the board again with this issue. And I'm just wondering, is it the same issue, the nurses of Mount Sinai?
So yes, I was part, this is Robin again. I was part of the nurses who presented. I think we were at the Academy of Medicine that evening. And what has happened is that the pandemic has not, hasn't helped, but it has magnified the extent of the issues. And they did not resolve them then, even though there was a greater pool of people that they could recruit from. And it's just gotten exponentially worse. So it is really, it's a very serious issue. There are hospitals around the country who have had to close beds, close services. Even within New York, there are multiple hospitals who close their birthing centers because of staffing shortages. There are not less nurses in the population. There are just less nurses who want to work under these conditions.
So one last question. So Robin, to that point, are there other nurses from other hospitals that are also joining in on this?
So I'm sure Jeremy is on the line and he could answer that because there are so many hospitals within that have New York State Nurses Association as their representative. but I could tell you that this is happening at Mount Sinai Morningside, Mount Sinai West, New York Eye and Ear, and Terrence Cardinal Cook. So those are the ones that I know of. I know that the Bronx up at Montefiore, they are doing the same with their community board, as well as Columbia Presbyterian. So yes, it's happening around the city and the state.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vinny?
Thank you, Xavier. So most of my questions were answered with those questions that were posed by Jason and Diana, and the responses that were given. My one question that I would have to add to this would be, did the nurses reach out to those at Mount Sinai to kind of begin negotiations and bring their grievances to them? I'm sure they have. Can they tell us, what kind of outreach was done on this, and what's the status of that?
So yes, what has happened, there have been multiple meetings with nursing, human resources, recruitment, and I'm trying to say this politically correct. It has not really gotten us anywhere. It's like talking on deaf ears. We all know that healthcare is not just a service, it's a business. And when it comes down to things, it's the bottom line. And by not recruiting quick enough and not filling vacancies, it's a tremendous amount of money that the hospital is saving. And the hospital has gotten a tremendous amount of money from the government through this pandemic. However, they are not spending it on the product of the hospital, and the product of the hospital is nursing care.
Thank you. Hopefully that answered your question, Vinny. I'm going to start to wrap this up. Osendi, Candy.
Yes, I was in this meeting, and we were able to hear directly from the nurses that some of that presented, and the conditions in which they are currently working under are very extenuating. It's extended, and it should be noted that Mount Sinai as an institution at the height of the pandemic fell. They didn't do right by the nurses in the beginning, but then again, things were very challenging. So as a lot of the nurses and a lot of the people that work in Mount Sinai actually live in this district, it's not a political issue, but a very, is a constituent issue. So please consider this to support this letter of support.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. Candy.
Very quick. I have, I'm sorry I didn't get to read the minutes for the Human Services. I have to disclose that I do sit in, I'm on the Mount Sinai's board, and I would suggest, like we did the last time, if you can have hold a meeting or something as a recommendation with intergovernmental and management involved, and the community board and the Human Services Committee, and bring them on board before the committee and the nurses to discuss this and see how we can come to a solution to help the nurses with this. I understand that this is a problem, and it's one that we can't turn the eye on, but we definitely need to stress it out to them. What is the importance? Not to have a blind eye, not to be on deaf ears, that this is very serious. The quality of services is being deplorable to the point where, as Robin has stated, everything is factual, and we have to be, we have to be hands-on and have them come to a realization that something has to be done. That's the most I can recommend and suggest. And I think this is very important because this is serious. You're talking about people's lives and the workers as well that are being burnt out. So that's what I wanted to say. And I'm
Thank you.
sorry, but I have a cold, so I'm not gonna put myself on the screen.
Thank you, Candy. Jason, since you spoke on the issue real quick, I'm just going to hit Dawn and Steph real quick to speak. If you have a question real quick, so we can wrap this up.
Is there a specific ratio we're asking for? And thank you. Because I feel like at the academy, there was a ratio, like we talked about the ratios of nurses to patients, and there was a clear number we were trying to get to.
So I'm sorry, it's Robin again. So that's a great question. In our last contract, what we did is we negotiated ratios for each of the units. You know, things are different in critical care, in labor and delivery. So we negotiated ratios for every inpatient unit in the hospital, in all of the Mount Sinai sites that are covered by NISNA. And we have challenged them with our data that they have almost never met any of the ratios. And not only have they not met the ratios before the pandemic, it has been far worse during the pandemic. So yes, we were looking for numbers, and the state is looking at numbers as well, but they have not been able to meet what they negotiated contractually with us.
Okay. Thank you. Steph, oh, you lowered your hand.
I was just trying to find the letter that Diane Collier was asking about, and I think I found it. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Jason?
Yes, final question. Has anybody reached, and anybody being the nurses or Mount Sinai, reached out to the regulatory agency, JCO? Just for those that ain't familiar, they're the Joint Commissions of Hospitals. Maybe the nurse could speak to that, or Mount Sinai, as well as the chair from Health and Services.
So again, this is Robin. We have reached out when we feel that safety of patients and safety of the employee are at risk. We have reached out to the Department of Health. We've reached out to OSHA. We have reached out to the Board of Trustees. We have reached out to as many regulatory agencies as we can. And when they do find this, they do come in. At other hospitals, they've been cited and fined for these breaches within the regulatory bodies. So yes, we definitely have done this, and we've done it multiple times.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. I'd like to conclude this, and I'm going to give Jeremy Markman Williamson, who's part of the group, just to speak very quickly on it, because I think we've had a lot of questions answered. So go ahead, Jeremy, please.
Yeah, hi, Jeremy Markman Williamson here. Just wanted to chime in. I work in the political and community organizing department for the New York State Nurses Association. Work closely with Sinai, with the union there. And this is coming from, the main hospital, but we also have resolutions everywhere. I've also been working with Morningside, Mount Sinai Morningside, and Mount Sinai West, same problems. I don't want to harp on things. I think Robin summed it up. Any speaker that would come from the facility who's a nurse would say the same things. This is a huge problem, especially when we're dealing with, a for-profit model that the hospital is looking at the bottom line, as Robin spoke about. And, and they're not doing things that are in the best interest of the patients, the best interest in retaining nurses. Rather, they're looking at the dollars that are coming in, and this is a real problem. And if we continue down this route, just think about it. It could be we'll all end up in the hospital one day. And, we don't want to go in there and not get the care that we know that we deserve. It's heart-wrenching for these nurses to not be able to give adequate care, and they're leaving in droves. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Jeremy. I just have one quick question for Robin or Jeremy. 5, 7 years ago, what was your rotation of patients versus now?
So our ratios were a bit better, but the acuity of patients has changed. What we're seeing in the hospital now are people who are multi-system failure, meaning if you come in the hospital and only one thing is wrong with you, you won't get admitted. They will discharge you. So the acuity has increased, the technology of caring for patients has increased, and plus a lot of, it's litigious. So you have to provide certain things for patients that, if you don't, you may be sued, and that it takes a lot of nursing care hours. So the ratios were better, but the acuity was much lower. So you were able to provide a higher level of care. Now it's constant running, constant orders, just so much more is going on. And because of that, we have good outcomes. But like I said, the data that's been reported out, the rate of your pressure ulcers, the rate of your infections, your urinary tract infections, and your pneumonias are reported out to the state. There's no lying about the numbers. The data is very clear. We are increasing in all of those areas. And also falls. Falls is another indicator of nursing care. And if you don't have enough people to watch patients, people are going to fall out of bed. And some of those falls are serious, bleeding, fractures. And it's usually the elderly that suffer the most.
Okay. Thank you, Robin. I'm going to call the question now. We had a motion to accept a letter of support with revisions for the New York State Nurses Association resolution regarding the safety and staffing issues, dignity, and respect of Mount Sinai Hospital nurses. The committee had a motion to support. Is there a motion to adopt the committee's recommendation? I see a hand, Michelle Wiltshire-Clement.
I would like to adopt that motion.
Okay, move to adopt the recommendation from the Human Services Committee. Angel, please call the roll.
Jose Altamirano. Stephanie Arroyo.
Yes.
Dan Brija.
Yes.
Yolanda.
Yes.
Eva.
Yes.
Ann.
Abstain.
Carlos.
Yes.
Angela.
Abstain.
Jessica Elliott.
Yes.
Elsie.
Yes.
Judith. Sandy.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
John.
Aye.
Robert Harvey.
Yes.
Alonzo.
Yes.
Robin is present, not voting. Marissa.
Yes.
Giselle.
Yes.
Malik.
Yes.
Jennifer Meyer.
Present, not voting.
Nilsa.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Miguel.
Yes.
Art Perez.
Yes.
Robert Perez.
Yes.
Natasha.
Yes.
Juan.
Yes.
Xavier.
Yes.
Isaac.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vinny.
Yes.
Angel,
did you call my name? Because I didn't hear it.
I did. What is your response?
Yes.
Thank you, Judith. Jason Villanueva.
Yeah.
Candy,
Present not voting. I would like to say yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Jason Wu.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. And just for clarification, Candy, do you have any business relations or working or stand to benefit from?
No, but I'm on the board of Mount Sinai.
Okay. All right. Then present not voting. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you very much. Very helpful. All right. Moving along. Thank you very much. Thank you, Art. Our next committee, we have Economic Development and Culture, Marissa Mack.
Hi, hold on 1 minute. Okay, hope you can see me. Good evening, everyone. So this month we had a presentation from Carrie King of Town Grand Central, and she was able to let us know that she is going to be representing our community on a new small business task force under the DA's office, which is extremely helpful, especially in light of some of the things that are currently going on within our community. So if anyone on this call needs to report anything or would like to share some of their ideas or concerns, please reach out to her. She is our liaison for Community Board 11. We also talked about the fact that there is conversation. It's a long way out, but there is conversation on a bid for our community. It's a very long process, but it is very, and I think inspiring and enlightening to know that that is something that is on the horizon and something that is in discussion right now. Also, the mask mandate was lifted right before our meeting, so there's still some concerns for businesses as to what they want to do. Some businesses are following the recommendations or the not necessarily recommendations, but the the idea that masks do not need to be worn. However, businesses have the right to do what they feel is best for them. So some back and forth there in regards to that, but that is something that continues to be a topic of discussion for businesses in our area. We did also talk about the fact that the restaurant resiliency funds have run out, and that that is something that is to be looked at and addressed, as businesses are still struggling at this time and do need additional funds. And so while that was not the primary source of funds, any help at this time for our businesses has been something that we always want to look towards supporting and encouraging to continue. So that's something that we need to look at and to continue to talk about, to figure out what are some other viable ways for funding. We also had a presentation from Pablo at Union Settlement. Again, he is gathering information from our small businesses on the restaurant resiliency program and what businesses kind of can do or need to do at this point to see about additional funding for continuing their businesses. He and Union Settlement are continuing the cleanup efforts in our community that continued to be an issue. At one point they had died down, but they are continuing to be an issue, along with sanitation issues, which I know there are a number of community boards that have expressed issues on sanitation. And so I think that that's something that we need to look at and address at some point, because it is becoming a problem throughout the city, especially now, I think, because people are working from home. We also had a presentation from Eva Chan and Alexis McSweeney from Youth Construct. Youth Construct is an organization that is helping youth to learn about the construction, all different aspects, which I think is something which is very unique. As we hear a lot about, individuals wanting jobs, but not really knowing about the ins and outs of the construction world. And so Youth Construct is really there to kind of bridge that gap between what goes on behind the scenes and then, how you can kind of pipeline that into a job. So we talked about that. We talked about connecting with youth and education, and then also connecting to some of the developers that come to present at economic development. So for our committee, We have started a form and kind of looking at organizations that come to present as a means of follow-up, but that form can also be used for people who come in who, are looking to connect with the people that present. I think that that's something that we can continuously do more to help people that come to our board and are looking for helpful ways to connect with other people. We also had a presentation from the MTA regarding both the viaduct and the Second Avenue subway. The viaduct, there is work that has started to be done underneath viaduct, but they are still working on a plan to obviously move the businesses that are under the viaduct. As a committee, we did express our concern with the lighting under the viaduct, and obviously still wanting to ensure that MTA is engaging our community on all levels. Very happy to hear that our last meeting, the majority of the conversation was around engagement with STEM, which is great. But we were also, looking for further and deeper engagement with our community. And so this meeting, we did hear talks about having a job fair, which has previously been done, but having a job fair within this community to MTA, just we requested. Also looking to engage the arts community, so whether that's painting for the overpass or painting on the viaduct, but engaging local artists that way. And then also involving the community in more discussions around both the viaduct and the Second Avenue subway. Regarding the Second Avenue subway, that is a little ways out, but we did indicate that, obviously as a committee, we didn't want anything to sneak up, and we didn't have the opportunity to talk about how businesses along that line need to be protected, and the plan for them as they move forward to ensure that everyone is not feeling like they are, being left out of the process, right? And obviously learning from what they've done previously up until 96th Street. So that was a conversation with MTA. And then we had two areas that we, two letters that we voted on creating. One of them being around the state of the community as it relates to economic development, and that being housing, the state of 125th Street, the ability to rent, the commercial spaces and their concerns, and obviously residents of the area. And the second letter is in regards to capping the amount of fines that businesses that fall under the small business definition would get in this community. And that's something that more or less came out of several discussions, but realizing that, every business should not be fined the same, especially like during these times now, businesses are trying to ensure that they're doing everything they can to maintain and to keep their doors open. And so we agreed as a committee, to write a letter to the city to have them at least look at businesses and say, look, a Ruth Chris is not gonna, be able to handle, or a small business is not gonna be able to handle, a fine that you might give, Ruth Chris that can just pay that with no problem, right? And so just to take a greater look at how they are really impacting small businesses in different communities and LMI communities. So that was it. Any questions?
Are there any questions? Beverly?
Yes, thanks, Melissa. That was a great presentation. I was able to look at the video of your meeting, and I was very impressed with the Youth Construct program that that was presented. I mean, the in-depth presentation about other types of job opportunities besides just labor was very interesting. And I think that if they have any type of brochures and anything that you post that, for the community to have. I was very impressed. I think it's excellent. And I see how when she was speaking, she was saying how our children don't know about these other opportunities in development of constructions or architecture positions. So I think her program will definitely benefit the children, even the adults, even if you can get some of the adults to start programs like that, you know, would help for the community. My other question for you was, in regards to the viaduct, are the businesses that they're gonna move out able to come back after completion of the viaduct? And that's it, I'll listen to you.
I'm sure that it could, but I actually do not know for sure. I don't want to say yes or no. I think in terms of our questioning, and I'm not sure if anyone else on this call may know, but our questioning was more leading up to what's going to happen just moving forward. But I'm pretty sure that they'll be able to come back, that it's not going to be a closed area, but I don't want to say yes or no for sure. And that's something that we can follow up with.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Beverly. Thank you, Marissa. I look forward to any positions that get taken in the future to be ratified at the committee and sent here to the full board so we can act on it. I appreciate all the presentations. It was a great meeting to be there at your committee and keep up the awesome work. So let's thank you very much. Let's move along. It is now 8:35. We have youth and education up. David Giordano. David?
Yeah.
It's about to call you Bueller. Bueller?
One day.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to get off this video. Hey, hello, everybody. Good evening. Down in Virginia, see, this is a great thing with this Zoom meetings. We could be anywhere and still be here in CB11 space. So having a wonderful vacation, but we had a wonderful meeting as well. And I guess I'll just start with some of the presentations. We had Youth Construct also at our meeting, and we're very impressed with them. And as Beverly said, it was nice to see that they are looking just more than laborers, that they're looking for engineering and architect and taking high school kids and really providing the opportunity. As much as we know education is the path to success, not every child is ready at, at high school age for college education. So again, opportunities to get real work that kids could do and learn a profession and a career, engineering, architect, construction, leadership is all wonderful opportunities. So again, that was a really great presentation, and that they start in high school because some kids just not ready for college. But we also had two other presentations. A presentation by PS 171, Patrick Henry. My children do go to that school, so I will disclose that. Mr. Pantelidis, Principal Pantelidis, presented and on the need to upgrade and refurbish the bathrooms, both for children and staff, as well as the auditorium. And I don't know if many of you know, but many of our schools in this community are very, very old. And particularly, I think PS 171 was built in 1925. So while it is a strong building, it does have a lot of upgrades, particularly the bathrooms. And I can't say more than enough about the condition of the bathrooms. So Mr. Pantelidis came, presented on the school and the wonderful achievements at that school. And it really is one of our prize schools in the community. It is a District 4 school, and it is kind of run as like a prep school. And I'm happy to say that, it is very important that we make bathrooms and auditoriums have air conditions and clean bathrooms for our children. And it really says a lot when a school, while it may be clean, does not have the proper facilities to, upgrade in this new day and age of the new millennium. So Mr. Pantelidis asked for a letter of support around funding to get the bathroom funded and to have them redone. We did pass a motion for that. And move on. We also had Harlem Children's Zone come, Promise Academy. The elementary school came and presented. They will be moving to 111th Street in the 112th Street in the Cerro Verde project. And we're really looking forward to them occupying that space. And it was really good that originally when there was an idea to put a school in there and then the school pulled out, then another school is going in. So we also had Jeffrey Canada from Promise Academy and Harlem Children's Zone. So we had the whole executive team of Harlem Children's Zone to really give updates and some of their programs. So again, it was also interesting because we also had a lot of discussion around charter schools and our informational updates. So during our CEC presentation, we actually had four resolutions that we proposed to the committee that we will vote on next month. Again, we want people to take the opportunity to really read through these resolutions before we make a determination. And since there were four of them, I felt it was not the time to just go through it quickly. So I'm asking everybody, please, in the committee, and if anybody else in the board would like the resolutions, we could send them to you as well, because we will be voting on them next month either way. So the resolutions were resolution of charter school cap, which was to create, and I'm just going to say very shortly, to not expand the charter school cap. A resolution for universal child care, which would be for all children, free child care for children. And we're talking about early childhood age children from nursery school and Head Start programs to be free. As we know, many of them are in the schools, but not all of them are free through the community. The third was foundation aid and charter funding. For some reason, they're going to give about 50%, close to 50% to charter schools compared to DOE, but yet charter schools only make up about 15% of our schools in the city. So in the state, rather, I'm sorry. So, you know, that's a real kind of drastic measurements that we're going to give more money to charter schools than we're going to give to the public schools. And the public schools serve more children. So it's a little bewildering. And the last resolution was New York City school governance, governor control. So I don't know if anybody knows, and again, we'll talk more about it, that the governor has control of the DOE, state DOE. And what we are trying to do is remove mayoral and governor control of these aspects and leave it more into districts and parents. Parents have not been involved in this process with the governor control. And we're really trying to push and get parents more involved and take away that power, that authority from the governor and the mayor. And then we had also a letter of recommendation for Dr. Christie. So our new chancellor decided that all the superintendents throughout the city had to reapply for their positions. And many of you may know that 2 years ago, Dr. Estrella left, who was here for many, many years in our community. And we were so fortunate to get Dr. Christie de la Cruz, who worked in the Bronx as a deputy superintendent. And she has taken on, she came during the process of when we were integrating with COVID, and it's just been nonstop. She's been a wonderful addition to our community, a leader in our community that's very, very much involved. She attends, I think, since she started almost 2 years ago, she's attended every one but one youth and education meeting. She really is devoted to the committee, to the community, and working with families to help educate and support their children. So I hope we can also, we did pass a motion to write and to support the CEC 4 letters of recommendation for Dr. Christie de la Cruz. And I really would appeal to everyone here to also support that. And I'm going to ask her to come next month so you can meet her. She is really wonderful. And again, we are so lucky to have and so fortunate to have this person who has joined us as our superintendent. What else did I forget? I think that's pretty much about it. Yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Do we have any questions? I have one question from Beverly Pavone.
Hi, Beverly.
Hi, David. I just want to know if anybody came to you regarding the new charter school they're going to put on 129th Street at the All Saint complex, Capital Preparatory School by the Sean Puffy Combs.
Well,
Has anybody come to the community?
No, nobody has come to the board. They
okay.
And you know, this becomes a continuing problem. I think they might have changed laws. I'm not, or the process. Before you was supposed to come before the community board and present. And it seems that many charters are not doing that anymore. There have been issues with Capital Prep. I also question how much it's really Puff Daddy, P. Diddy school when, you know, I over the years, yes, he was involved with the school, but to what extent, I'm not really sure. And several, you know, as Capital Prep has been at Boys and Girls, at the, what's that building, the in the barrio, I'm tongue-tied tonight. There've been a lot of problems with the kids in the community and fights. About a year ago, there was a fight at McDonald's where they had to close it down because of the violence that was going on by those students. And again, I'm not trying to criticize or stigmatize any students. Things happen, right? And we know that in our community, but they have not really, when they've been asked to come before us, and we wrote a letter about a year and a half ago, they have not come. So I really have questions again. But I know when we raised the issues and the issues were raised on other levels in the community, there seemed to be a lot of pushback, and there seems to be a lot of political support of that particular school. Hence why some agencies may no longer be in the Heckshare building. That's the building, you know. So it's a tricky thing, and maybe we do need to request for them to come before the committee and before the board if they're going to open up another school. You know, Harlem Children's Own Promise Academy came when, you know, when the project is going forward and they're going to be opening up the new school, the elementary, and they came before us and answered questions. And again, there's a lot of concern about charter schools and how, again, how they're being funded. You know, the cap on them. A while ago, they said they were going to go do a cap, and now they're talking about upping that cap of the number of schools. And it really, you know, I'll say this, it really bothers me when charter schools can turn around in October and say, you know what, student, you're no longer going to make it here, and you need to go back to public DOE schools. And then what's really tricky about that is the charter already got the funding for that kid. The DOE doesn't get the funding for that kid that is now returned to their school for 8 months of the year instead of the 10 months of the year. So, you know, that's a real problem. And I think we need to get our elected officials more involved in this. You know, everybody's so eager to take charters, and are charters really educating our kids better than DOE? Or are we refusing to fix the DOE problems to better service and educate our kids? So, you know, it's a wrapped up kind of process. I know we're going on, but you know, next month, we are going to talk about 2 charters resolutions. So this is a real important topic and really does. So Beverly, thank you for asking and making us aware of that. You know, again, they're supposed to come before the community board and say, we're expanding, we're going to be here. It's not happening. So what is the resolutions for those things when they happen?
Yep. Thank you, Beverly, for the question. David, and I think that's something that youth and education should continue to advocate for, and also shining a light on the realities that they could be in there for 1 month, they've got their funding for the year, but then they're pushing out the student back into the public system that is already at a deficit. So I think that's something to bring that data to a potential resolution. In the interest of time, I just found out, Robert Harvey, I'll recognize you real quick. I just found out we have our BP on the line, and I'd like to bundle these two, number 12 and 13, so we can take a position. But Robert, go ahead and ask your question real quick, and then I'm going to call for a motion on combining these two, so we can then have our BP present, who's waiting patiently on the other end. Robert.
Thanks, Xavier. Yeah, it wasn't a question. We can kick it back. So obviously, I serve as superintendent of a network of charter schools here in East Harlem. There's a lot more nuance to what was all just shared than the way it was just shared around funding. And that's, I think it's a slippery slope to get into, like, without a formal discussion on it, because, you know, as someone who is deeply driven and committed to all forms of families being able to choose the right option for their young people, I do think it's mindful, though, that we be mindful in terms of how we frame those, like funding realities. We have to, like most people, we have to submit for payment multiple times a year. If a child leaves us, we don't get full year money when a young person leaves, because there's multiple payment portals we have to submit throughout the year. And if a child is gone, we no longer can submit that child's name for payment, right? So, like, that's just inaccurate information. So I would encourage us to
get the money, Robert. DOE doesn't get the money now to service that school, that child, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not denying. I'm not denying that. All I'm saying is, but to say that we get full year funding if a child does leave us is just not accurate. So
Yeah,
I just want to be mindful that it's a
Right.
larger conversation.
Yeah, so real quick, just I would love for this to come to Youth and Education, David, and please have a conversation with Robert. I think this is where that should happen, is at the committee level. And then we can bring it back for a fuller discourse here next month if you're taking a position. That is my recommendation and what we'll entertain, because that will be more productive, because that's where we get into the weeds, is at the committee. And again, we want to present very precise and accurate information to the public at large.
And
So-
I'm not staying corrected, but the truth
Yeah.
is, DOE doesn't now get the money to service that child.
So, but here in this dialogue, we have found that we need to do more research and say, where does the money go? Where
And
does it
Xavier,
go?
that's how we ended our meeting, that we would, since we did have charter and there was some, conflicts and just understanding or agreeing on certain things, that we didn't need to have an explore a further conversation about where we are with the charter schools.
Brilliant.
When you come into the neighborhood, you're supposed to come and say, I'm here. And when you don't, that gives a nasty taste in the mouth.
Yeah,
And I do want to just acknowledge that, Robert and I think we've worked together on the committee and but we've really not tested some of these things out further. And I think we do need to explore them. And Robert, if I'm incorrect, please always correct me with the facts, anybody, if I'm incorrect.
Wonderful. See, this is how we make a difference. Thank you so much for the collegiality. Real quick, is there a motion? I'm going to combine 12 and 13 so we can get on to our borough president to support grant funding for proposal to renovate and update all staff student restroom facilities.
Motion.
Hold on, you got to raise your hands. And then number 13, support CEC's 4's letter recommendation for Dr. Christy De La Cruz to remain as superintendent of school district 4. John, I saw your hand up. Go first, John.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, please call the roll unless these other hands were to do something other than motion. Candy, were you going to motion? Because John's carrying the committee's recommendations. Okay.
Yes,
All right,
yes, I was.
Okay.
Jose Altamirano, Stephanie,
Yes, supporting both.
Dem,
Yes.
Yolanda,
Yes.
Eva,
Yes.
Ann, Carlos,
Yes.
Angela,
Yes.
Jessica Elliott,
Yes.
Elsie,
Yes.
Judith,
Yes.
thank you. Sandy,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
John,
Aye.
Robert Harvey,
Yes.
Alonzo,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Marissa,
Yes to both.
Giselle,
Yes.
Malik,
Yes.
thank you. Jennifer Meyer,
Yes.
Nelsa,
Yes to both.
Beverly,
Yes to both.
Miguel,
Yes.
Art Perez,
Yes.
Robert Perez,
Yes.
Natasha,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Xavier,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
Jason Villanueva,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes, for both.
Michelle,
Yes.
Jason Wu.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, got it.
Angel,
Thank you.
it's Diane. I didn't catch my name. Yes.
Thank you, Diane. Motion carries.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you, everyone. It is now 8:55. Going to move on to land use, landmarks, and planning. Elsie Encarnacion.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So land use did have a meeting in February. There was a conversation around the MTA Second Avenue Subway Phase 2 transfer of land by HPD. That conversation led to a motion which then ended up in executive and resulted in a resolution that I will be presenting during executive. So I will kind of give you the whole of it during that presentation. Land use will be back next month with a full report, but for now, that is all.
Great. Thank you, Elsie. We'll look forward to going to that in just a moment. So on to executive, please. Okay. So thank you, everyone, for your patience. We're nearly there. We had 2 items that were brought before us at executive committee meeting. Prior to addressing those action items, we dealt with a lot of our goals and accomplishments from last year, and which were many. However, I think what I would like to say as a testament to our board is that we have stuck together, and as the saying goes in my industry, ride or die. And we've gotten it done. We're still carrying on the good work, which means we pivot when we need to. And I appreciate all of your patience. As such, we had the item number 14, which was a resolution to oppose the proposed transfer of city-owned property block 1773 and lots 4 and 72 to the MTA in relation to the Second Avenue Subway. And I'm going to now bring it back to Elsie and Angel to discuss that portion of our meeting. Elsie?
Sure, thank you. I'm back. So as promised, just to give some context to the resolution, in January, the MTA came to the land use committee meeting and presented an update around the Second Avenue Subway Phase 2. There was also a piece of that presentation that HPD would be transferring the lots listed here to MTA in order for them to create an ancillary structure and also an entrance into the subway station. We had that conversation. After that meeting, Angel was made aware that there was actually a clock ticking on us responding to that transfer of land from HPD to the MTA, which we were unaware of at the time of the presentation. So this created, there was also some information that was shared to Angel in subsequent meetings in regards to property that Durst owns that is adjacent to those lots that would also be purchased by the MTA. That would give MTA quite a significant amount of land on 125th and 124th and Park Avenue. And so during our February meeting, we had a conversation around how to respond to this transfer of land. We got a presentation from George James, who went over some options for us and ultimately decided that we would vote no unless we saw some conditions or they met conditions that we were proposing. As most of you know, 125th Street and Park Avenue is a very important part of our district, and there should be more than just an MTA entrance to a subway and an ancillary building there. And so we as a committee ultimately decided to add the points that you see here, that the space that is going to be taken over by the MTA include at a minimum, but not limited to, substantial affordable housing component, an active commercial storefront on 125th Street and Park Avenue, community facility space, accessory parking, environmental and resilience considerations and effects on built environment, with work to commence within 2 years of completion of the construction of the Second Avenue Subway. And these things are things that we think are very important for that area on 125th Street. And we want both the MTA and HPD to really take into consideration not supporting that transfer unless these things are considered and agreed to. And so that is what we voted on. That is what we presented, that resolution we presented at executive and voted on, and it passed. So we're bringing it now to all of you.
Great. I have, Diane Collier has her hand up. Diane?
So exactly where are these lots? What, 1773 lots 4? Are they on the north side, south side? Can
We're on 124th Street on the east side. They're kind of, we did have a map. I don't know if Angel can pull that map up of the actual lots of the MTA. They're really small lots, but it's kind of in the block of between 124th, 125th and Park Avenue.
I know where one of them is, but I don't know where the other one is. Are they, so they're on Park Avenue?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're adjacent to each other in the middle of that block between 124 and 125 on the east side of Park Avenue.
Right. I think I pretty much know. One of them probably is a parking lot right now. The other one is just plain empty. Are they restricted to the zoning on that area?
So that area was rezoned, and it built on would include MIH and a bunch of other things. Right now, the only thing that the MTA has come to us and shared with us is that they are looking to build an ancillary structure and the entrance. And so there was no plan for a building, for housing, for commercial space, for none of that. None of that was discussed during their presentation. And so that is why we decided to bring that forth as something that we wanted to push for, because right now, I mean, if we're thinking about all that space, we're also thinking about the height. Like, there's just nothing other than what they presented. I'm not saying that they don't have those things in plans, but it was not shared with us at that time.
And just one more question. Do we know if this scenario existed below 96th Street when they built the ancillary? And I can't speak about the Second Avenue train station, but
in terms of a transfer of the lots for MTA?
No, just in general, did they build, housing above the ancillary, or do we know it? Did they talk about that at all?
No. They did not talk about that. So I'm not aware if they did.
Not that I'm going to vote against this. I just have a couple of questions about
it. Of course. Yeah. I mean, it was a new process for us, one that we did not know that the 45 days was ticking. And so that was kind of what jolted us into action and making sure that we had something on the record within 45 days. This is going to take a lot more conversations with our electeds and other
Right.
Who are going to have to support this, because ultimately, this is a transfer of a small lot. We do need the Second Avenue subway. We've never said we didn't, but we really don't want that space to be desolate and without any of this stuff that we've been fighting for throughout many other projects. It's like 125th Street and Park Avenue should have housing. It should have commercial space. Like, it should not just be what they're presenting at the time.
Don't get me started, Elsie, because there's a lot more that it should be doing.
Right.
Elsie, I just want to just tag in to answer Diane's question about zoning. So as it states in the resolution, when the state takes a property for a transit use, per the public authorities law as it relates to transit projects, zoning does not apply. Any municipalities, zoning ordinances, land use ordinances for that district, including the New York City's ULURP process, does not apply. So they can receive that transfer, and the existing rules, they do not have to abide by. The idea of weighing in this way on this is that we don't want to run the risk of having had an expectation for that site that would produce something that's in line with our priorities, right? For having housing, for having, commercial activity, as Elsie stated, and not go on the record making that clear. We don't want to end up, or I think it's reasonable to assume that the community would not want just a standalone ancillary structure and a subway entrance on a vital corner on our important commercial district, a commercial corridor of 125th Street. Other ancillary structures along the first phase of the Second Avenue subway are all just standalone structures. So 40 to 75 foot tall, block, like very square plain buildings with no commercial storefront, no activity. And this particular ancillary structure, or the plan for this structure that the MCA presented, the structure would be on the 124th Street side, and the entrance would be on the 125th Street side. So it would have just an entrance and a plaza and an ancillary structure. Now that's all that we know, right? Like Elsie was explaining, they have not said if they're definitely doing any other kind of development, if they have plans for any kind of development. So we're acting and responding to what we know. What we know is what they've told us is that they're proposing a station and an ancillary structure. In the interim, of course, they'll be using that as a staging area for the construction project, but afterwards, the only thing we know that they plan for that site, which includes not just the HPD lots, but the surrounding properties that they purchased from Durst as well. Also, we want to go on record stating that what's listed there, that these are our priorities for this site, and under normal circumstances, given the zoning that exists there, if it weren't for this transit project, which of course we appreciate, obviously, expanding mass transit is always a good, but besides that great good, there's also an opportunity that we don't want to let slip by to develop and to do an integrated development on that site, as has been done in numerous places all across the city. Not necessarily with an ancillary structure, but with station entrances all over the place, right? We see them around Grand Central, Times Square, all along 3rd Avenue, 2nd Avenue, not 2nd Avenue, 3rd Avenue, Lexington Avenue, where subway stations are, integrated right into the footprint of the building. So what this is proposing is to integrate not just the station, but also the ancillary structure. The last thing I'll say is a couple of years ago, you all might recall, Ascendant Community Neighborhood Development had proposed, had issued a report called Public Sites for Public Good, which was also proposing, this kind of integrated development, right? Like not, that these buildings, which on the 125th Street side are probably going to be like 40 to 50 feet tall, could be easily integrated into another building, right? Like have this as a route and then have the rest of the building built around it. That was the last point on that. I hope that helps.
Great.
Yes, it does. But like I said, there's a lot more that can be said, and it's a good start. We have to lay the groundwork somewhere. So I don't have an issue with it. Those were just my few questions. Because are they doing eminent domain? Angel?
It's an eminent domain process, but eminent domain, they're purchasing it. They're purchasing the properties from Durst, and they're transferring the projects from HPD.
Thank you. Dawn?
Thanks. One thing that came up during the meeting, and maybe this was mentioned before, but I didn't hear it, is that without making this a mixed-use project, we could really compromise the safety on that block. So regardless of what is put there, what use is there, if there are extra, excuse me, eyes on the block, then it'll be a safer space. Is that also, wasn't that also one of the thoughts, that it would be safer to have a business there or some sort of center, and not to have it as like a blank storefront?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think that, having that area right near where the Metro North is, and not having anything that has activity and brings people around would definitely be detrimental to the safety of anyone entering or exiting that subway station.
Because for me, that's enough right there, you know, just given the problems that we're having over there, that alone is enough reason to make sure that it's not an empty site. So just wanted to clarify. Thank you. Thanks.
Of course.
Thank you very much, Dawn, and thank you, Elsie, Angel. Not seeing any other questions here. So the executive committee passed this resolution to oppose the proposed transfer of city-owned property, block 1773, lots 4 and 72 to the MTA in relation to the planned Second Avenue Subway Phase 2 project, unless the MTA commits to integrating its planned station entrance and ancillary structure of the site into a mixed-use development project that includes at minimum but not limited to a substantial affordable housing component, an active commercial storefront on 125th and Park, community facility space, accessory parking, environmental and resilience considerations and effects on built environment, with work to commence within 2 years of completion of construction of the SAS2. So I have Beverly and then Yolanda. Beverly?
Yes. My concern, my first thing is that I want to know if I wanted to know if I'm able to add another component to the acts because of the safety issues if they just leave it as a blank building. I don't remember seeing any design from the MTA about what's going to be inside the train station or the ancillary facility. And I just want to know if we can add that part of the design would have a police station, a transit type of police station in there, just for safety, because we have these 3 major train hubs in that area. And I know they have something like that.
Yeah. So I know they have existing spaces in major hubs. The place to add that would be after we've entertained a motion to support the committee's recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would make a motion to amend, and it would have to be seconded, and we would have to vote on that.
Okay.
Then we would carry on with that additional bullet point at the bottom of what we see before us here.
Okay.
And then it would be a second roll call vote. So I first need to entertain the original motion, and then you have your hand up. I will recognize you after that, if you do not mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pastor Brown, Yolanda.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the committee's recommendation.
Okay, so the committee had sent forth this recommendation. You are motioning to push it forward. John?
Thank you.
But yeah, so and with that, now is Beverly's opportunity you wanted to make an addition, correct?
Yes, that in the design, somewhere the design that they add a station for policing. I know that the transit police have these little hubs that they have, and since we have these 3 major train hubs in this area, that extra policing should be included in the design of the Second Avenue subway.
So if I could repeat, I guess to kind of paraphrase, a space be included in the design of or into the station or ancillary space for a transit police command office, something like that. Is that what you're asking for?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Just because I know. Okay. So that is your. I need a second then to entertain it, please. Please raise your hand if you desire to entertain this addition.
I second, Eva.
Nilsa, Nilsa has her hand up. Eva, I hear you, but she has her hand. Nilsa, and then Eva, we could do if you're willing to support. Nilsa?
Yes, I entertain. I support the motion as made by Beverly to include and as clarified by yourself, to include a space that could potentially be used for transit police in order to police the area.
I wonder why I'm like, where the shit keeps cutting off,
Okay.
bro.
Hey, Robert, would you please mute yourself? Please mute Robert. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll just for collegiality, I'll recognize both Nilsa and Eva seconding that. Call the roll, please, for this addition, and then we will go back to the original motion and do a second roll.
Jose Altamirano, Stephanie Arroyo,
Yes to the addition.
Dan Brija,
Yes.
Yolanda,
Yes.
Eva,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Carlos,
Yes.
Angela,
Yes.
Jessica Elliott,
Yes.
Elsie Encarnacion,
Yes.
Judith,
Yes.
Osendi,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
John Green,
Aye.
Robert Harvey,
No.
Alonzo,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Marissa,
Yes.
Zell,
Yes.
Pat Martin, Malik,
Yes.
Jennifer Meyer,
Yes.
Nelsa, Really, is a yes. Andrew, here, Miguel,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Art Perez,
Yes.
Natasha,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Xavier,
Yes.
Isaac,
No.
Russell,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
Jason Villanueva,
No.
Andy,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes to the recommendation.
Jordan. He's not here. Jason Wu,
No.
motion carries.
Thank you very much. And regretfully, we have to go through that entire roll call because it has now been added to the original motion. And we need to call the roll to adopt the entire resolution with that addition. Okay, Angel?
Hold on. Jose Altamirano, Stephanie Arroyo,
Yes.
Dem,
Yes.
Yolanda,
Yes.
Eva,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Carlos, Angela,
Yes. Carlos.
thank you, Carlos, thank you, Angela, Jessica,
Yes. Yes.
Elsie,
Yes.
Judith,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
John,
Aye.
Robert Harvey,
Abstain.
Alonzo,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Marissa,
Yes.
Giselle,
Yes.
Malik,
Yes.
Jennifer Meyer,
Yes.
Nelsa,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Miguel,
Yes.
Art Perez,
Yes.
Robert Torres,
Yes.
Natasha,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Xavier,
Yes.
Isaac,
No.
Russell,
Yes.
Vinny,
Yes.
Jason Villanueva,
Abstain.
Candy,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Jason Wu,
Abstain.
abstain, Jason?
Yes. Abstain.
Okay, sorry, you cut off. The motion carries.
Thank you very much, board. Thank you, Elsie. That concludes that number 14 resolution. If you please move to the next action item. We had, Adem, are you still on?
Yep.
So this came before licenses and permits, and it became moot because one of the conditions was not met. And that's why it came before executive. Please, Adem, if you would give us a little quick background, and then we will.
Yeah, okay, so basically, should have been a straightforward renewal. They did have some 311, so they would have been required to attend license and permits anyway. But upon attending, the applicant informed the committee that they forgot to submit their 30-day notice in time, and that they had spoken to a representative of the SLA who told them they could request that the committee backdate their application, their 30-day notice. We made a conditional motion on that because none of us were sure if that was something the SLA could even do. So the condition was that we get something in writing from the SLA saying that that's something that could be done. Marlene, our liaison, reached out to SLA. They notified us that that is something they do not do. So that motion was automatically denied because the condition was not met. After that, due to COVID and everything and it being a mistake, I had reached out to Angel and Xavier and Marlene and asked if there was any way that we could just help out as much as we can within the rules and regulations of the board, to see if we could help them get this sooner. So at executive, we voted on this rather than waiting till full board, just to give them maybe a few extra days head start, because if anybody's familiar with this location, they rely heavily on being able to sell alcohol. So at executive, the executive committee just voted on the application as it was originally submitted, with the 30-day notice being, I believe, from January 20th, not backdated as they had requested to January 1st. So that's it.
Thank you, Adem. So the committee did approve the application for Gregory Alexander Brown Jr. doing business as the Guthrie Inn to renew the full liquor license number 1319122 for a restaurant located at 1259 Park Avenue, New York 10029, 97th Street. Jason, you have your hand raised.
If
Jason,
there's no questions, I'm ready to make a motion.
are there any questions? Seeing no hands raised. Jason?
Motion to support the committee's recommendation.
All right, Angel, please call the roll. Dawn, hold
Jose?
on. We have a hand raised from Dawn. Just 2 seconds. Dawn?
So we are supporting the denial?
No,
or-
supporting the committee supported to approve the application.
Oh, okay, okay, all right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Jose? Stephanie?
Yes.
Adem?
Yes.
Yolanda?
Yes.
Eva?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Carlos?
Yes.
Angela?
Yes.
Jessica Elliott?
Yes.
Elsie?
Yes.
Judith?
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
John,
Aye.
Robert Harvey,
Yes.
Alonzo,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Marissa,
Yes.
Giselle,
Yes.
Malik,
Yes.
Jennifer Meyer,
Yes.
Nelson Rama,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Miguel,
Yes.
Art Perez,
Yes.
Robert Perez,
Yes.
Natasha,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Xavier,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
Jason Villanueva,
Yes.
Candy. Thank you. Candy,
Abstain.
Candy. Michelle,
Yes.
and Jason Wu.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you very much, everyone, for your patience. It's now 9:26, and we now, is there any new business? Seeing no hands raised. There is no old business before us, and we'll now call the roll one last time.
Jose Altamirano, Leroy Andino, Stephanie Arroyo,
Still here.
Erica Cancella,
I'm here too. I think you skipped me.
almost, Adembria,
Sorry, here.
Yolanda,
Awake.
Eva,
Still here.
Diane.
Still here.
It's only 9:30. What's all this still business? Carlos,
Yeah, I'm here.
next month we're doing 11:30. Angela,
I'm definitely here.
awesome. Jessica Elliott,
Present.
Elsie,
Present.
Judith,
Hanging in here.
Sandy,
Present.
David,
Yes, I'm here.
John,
Out.
Robert Harvey,
Here.
Ada is absent. James is excused. Alonzo, here. Robin,
Here.
Marissa,
Yes.
Giselle,
Here.
Pat Martin is absent. Malik,
Here.
Jennifer Meyer,
Here.
Jessica Morris, Elsa, Beverly,
Yes. And good night.
Andrew, absent. Miguel,
Here.
Charlie's absent. Art Perez,
Here.
Robert Perez,
Present.
Vasia is absent. Natasha,
I'm still alive.
Don Sanders,
Here.
Xavier,
Here.
Isaac,
Here.
Russell,
Here.
Vinny,
Presente. Let's get it going.
Jason Villanueva.
He say, here.
Here.
There you go, buddy. Candy,
Here.
9. Michelle,
I'm here.
Jordan is absent, and Jason Wu.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you very much, Angel. And thank you, everyone, for not forcing me to put on my best pilot voice as if we're going into a tow-in gate. Thank you. Have a great evening. The next full board meeting is scheduled for March 22nd, 2022. We will have events coming up. Please stay in touch. If you hear anything, please communicate to Angel and the staff. Let us know any events throughout the community. And we'll see you at the next month's meetings. Please stay safe. The meeting is adjourned.
Good night, all.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.